Bring back the man in you, not because you need to, but because you will want to. Improve your weight room and bedroom performance with the all-new VasoFlux for Men natural dietary supplement. This unique blend of barks, roots, herbs, and vitamins is nature's way of keeping you in the game. And all for under $10. You can order yours today. Visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856 today.
Hey, there's no kid in town.
James Jimmy Jackson, born October 14th, 1970. Today's feature is a guy that had all the intangibles, physical tools, pedigree, and opportunity as a basketball player to become a perennial all-star and solidify himself as one of the best players of the 90s. He began his NBA career living up to the expectations he built for himself as a former McDonald's All-American, the College Player of the Year, and 4th overall pick in the NBA draft. His size and skill were perfect for the NBA, and he had the motor and attitude to match his mouth. One that would get him in trouble more than a few times, and even led Coach Don Nelson to calling him a crybaby millionaire after trading him. Attitude determines your altitude. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the saying, and if you aren't, rewind this video and write that down, because it couldn't be closer to the truth from a personal experience and watching from the outside looking in. Did Jim Jackson have a bad attitude? Was Toni Braxton the reason he fell out with teammates? Was he an entitled millionaire like Don Nelson suggests? Or was it a few other things beyond his control? Here's what I think really went down that took away this all-star level talent guard of the 90s potential to become just that. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Get it, man.
Tonight, sports producer Mike Thompson shows us the Macomber player that's had Toledo all fired up.
Jackson is from Toledo, Ohio, and was a star from day one at Macomber High School starting all 4 years. What made him dominant on that level was his gift of size mixed with strength, athleticism, and the dog he played with that intimidated most his competition. Jackson looks like a nice guy and harmless, but it's said that he's always had a rambunctious personality and preyed on any weakness in his opponent and used it to dominate you both physically and mentally. In all honesty, I like players like Jim Jackson. In competition, you must expect that anything can be said and anything goes when competing at a high level. A guy that's skilled and also lets you know about it is something I'd want on my team any day. The thing about that is, when you get to levels like the NBA, where it's now a business more than basketball, those things can easily be misconstrued and lead to you wearing a jacket that can be looked at from a bad angle. Stunt number 1, the wrong jacket. In all walks of life and at every age, you develop a reputation that surrounds your name, and that reputation precedes your arrival, whether good or bad. I like to call it a jacket for lack of better terms, to illustrate just how close it is to you and how it's seen first and many times used to recognize who you are. Having the wrong one on you in a business like the NBA will almost always stunt your growth and lessen your opportunities to become what you could have. In my opinion, it's one of the main reasons Jimmy Jackson, instead of becoming an NBA All-Star and sticking with teams he could have led to great things, became a journeyman, putting up numbers way below his standard. Leaving high school, he was a household name at that level and had his choice of any school he wanted to, being the Mr. Basketball in his state and a McDonald's All-American. He would choose to stay within the state and attend Ohio State beginning in the 89-90 season, where from day one he was the leader statistically on his team and as a freshman already one of the best players in the conference. He took his team to the NCAA tournament and averaged 16 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 4 assists. At his size, mixed with shooting ability and athleticism at the time, it was clear that the school and conference had a bona fide star in their hands. Over the next 2 seasons in college, he became just that, winning the Conference Player of the Year as a sophomore and junior. Always shooting a high field goal percentage and being solid in all facets of scoring, it was icing on the cake to see that he could rebound and create for others as well. As a junior, he led his team to the Elite Eight after taking them to the Sweet 16 a year prior, averaging 22 points a game, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. It was time to make a decision, and it was clear that Jackson should leave and would be taken easily in the top 5, which he was by the Dallas Mavericks. He came into a situation where he could easily become one of the leaders statistically, but a team that was free-falling, winning 22 games prior and 11 games in his rookie season. The main reason is because the team had no leadership at the time, and everyone basically playing for their own survival. This would be the case for his entire 4-year start with the Mavericks, even when they began to draft players like Jason Kidd and Jamal Mashburn, creating a trio that on paper should have at least won one conference title. But drafting Jamal and then Kidd only made the situation worse, as here came more young guys that weren't the most mature while being the best on the team, so most times nothing is done about it. Later, Mashburn would say that those teams didn't have the camaraderie or leadership to win, and it seems that's evident looking at their team's success over Jackson's 4-year span. The complaint about him was that he didn't understand how to build chemistry with new guys, and that he wasn't selfless enough to take advice from the older ones. He'd later wear the jacket of a troublemaker, especially in Coach Nelson's eyes when he took over in '96 and began watching the team. Said when he would speak to Jackson, all he did was whine and blame other players, which led Nelson to calling him and Mashburn whiny millionaires before trading both. Stunt number 2, being traded from the Mavericks. Although the team wasn't doing well, individually, Jim Jackson was becoming a star, and if he could begin to win games, may have even found himself as an all-star for Dallas. But as mentioned, Don Nelson took over, and after watching how the team interacted mainly in the locker room, was shocked that it was that messy and decided to clean house, beginning with trading all 3 of the team's cornerstone players in a trade year that will go down in history. I don't think I remember a time when 3 of the team's stars, without asking to leave, were traded in the same year. The reasons for this are scattered from Jackson and Jason Kidd involved in a love triangle with Toni Braxton that led to animosity between the two and dysfunction within the team, which was later denied by anyone close to the situation. To people calling Jim a troublemaker, to the team having no leadership with its 3 stars all 25 years or younger, and not much individual leadership skills to begin with. Jason Kidd is one of the best point guards ever, but being a good passer doesn't make you a good leader. Let's just leave that there. Jackson had his best years in Dallas as an individual, with a career high of 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists he averaged in the 94-95 season. The team won 36 games and he played in 51 of them before being injured. Had he found a way to weather the Don Nelson storm and stick with the team, he could have maybe developed his leadership skills while also keeping the space he created on the team as their scoring leader or one of, leading to a better individual career. Obviously, that didn't happen and he was traded to the New Jersey Nets, then the Sixers, then everywhere else. Stunt number 3 comes with the territory. The thing about being a journeyman anywhere is that opportunities won't come for you like they once did. In the NBA, year by year, a journeyman is used less and less, sometimes because of the jacket he wears as representation, and other times because of becoming comfortable with where you are in your career, as long as the money is being made. For Jackson, I think his reputation preceded him as a bad locker room guy, along with the ankle injury he suffered earlier that took away some of his athleticism and explosiveness, which over time makes you a shell of the player you could be. Do I believe he was a bad locker room guy, a troublemaker? No, I don't. I do think his leadership skills sometimes got misinterpreted, and his youth and immaturity may have helped with that. He began to end up on teams like the Sixers, who already had cornerstones they were developing, or bad teams that didn't have the players around him to show what he was capable of. His play would begin to decline throughout his journey, and eventually, with the help of injury, he just wasn't seen as a potential star in the league anymore, but just good enough to be included as trade bait. All in all, I like Jim Jackson. He had the game and he had heart. Was he a good leader? No, he wasn't. Not in the moments that would shape his career, at least. Did he underperform over the course of that career? One could make that argument, and I may agree, seeing how good he was all the way up to his first 4 NBA seasons. What his story can do, though, is illustrate what it means to have all the talent and not develop other aspects that are important, such as leadership and handling business over any outside distraction. He did play a long NBA career and ended up averaging pretty solid numbers individually, but for these reasons, I believe his growth was stunted. Salute to Jim Jackson, much respect, it's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out. Also, if you have some time, I'm inviting you to check out the new website. Many have been asking for a Cash App or how they can support the channel. Honestly, you watching the video and getting to this point of it is more than enough. But if you want to go the extra mile and get some pretty cool gear at the same time, new winter hoodies have just been released. It's a part of a project I'm working on, all original designs. For now, there's the gold tips along with the red and black. A play on words that exalt the game we all know and love. StuntedGrowth3.com if you want to get some gear and show some support. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. I'm really out this time. Chill.